Recording has started.
Good morning to everybody in the room. Good morning to our attendees joining us virtually. We do want to note that we do have a quorum, and we also are joined by Vice Chair of the Prison Board, Commissioner Gershom, on the phone, and also the Sheriff Brian Samsel. So we are at a quorum. For public comment, we will offer the opportunity for attendees to offer their thoughts on items that are not on the agenda, and we will provide 5 minutes for folks to do so. Is there any public comment at this time for items that do not appear on our agenda?
Thing is on.
And just so we see no hands in the room, virtually, is there any public comment?
No.
Okay, great. And we just want to double check before we exit out of public comment for the monthly reports and minutes. Are the participants able to see a screen that says call to order, public comments, approval of minutes that are joining us virtually?
Yes, we can see it.
Fantastic. Just wanted to double check. Okay. This time we will accept a motion for the approval of the minutes from our November meeting.
So moved.
Second. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Okay. All right, good morning, board. We'll turn it over to you for your monthly reports.
Morning, everyone. Starting off with our returning citizen service report with Center County Mental Health, Amy Miller. A year ago, she's seen 22. This past November, she's seen 25. Crossroads Drug and Alcohol, they meet 4 times per month. 15 male returning citizens, 7 female returning citizens. Mental health group meets 4 times per month. 3 male returning citizens and 1 female returning citizen. Our Center County Compass program, 4 times per week for 4 weeks. Male groups is 16 returning citizens, 4 peer supports. Female group is 4 returning citizens with 2 peer supports. Compass graduations in the month of November were 6, 3 females, 3 males. Center County Decision Points program, they meet 1 time per week for 4 weeks. Male groups are 4, females 0. Decision Points graduation hit 0. Work release and community reentry workers. Total monthly totals available. Centerpiece is 8. County maintenance 5. Grounds is 2. Work release is 8. A year ago in work release we had 3. Center County population snapshot of 11/30/2022. Total count that day was 166. Out of 166, Center County population was 115. 17 females, 98 males. Unsentenced out of that 115 was 58. 8 females, 50 males. County sentence 45, 7 females, 38 males. State sentence is 12, 2 females and 10 males, 8 left on 12-1. Tentative county population out of 166 was 50, 28 females, 22 males. Unsentenced is 36, 24 females, 12 males. County sentence 14, 4 females, 10 males, and 0 for state. As you look at the graph from the 1st of November to the 30th of November, our tentative county count kind of stayed pretty much the same. And in our Center County, we started at 120, we dipped a little bit, and then we ended out with 115. Center County unsentenced on 11/30/2022. New charges only, males 29, females 6, total of 35. Probation and parole only is 9 males, 2 females, a total of 11. Probation and parole with new charges is 11, total of males, total of 11, and total unsentenced is 57. Behavior modification status, we have 4 on tier 0, 1 on tier 1, and 11 out in general population. Co-occurring disorder, year goes 26 out of 79 intakes. This past November was 30 out of 84 intakes, which was 37.7% of our intake population came in with co-occurring disorder. Only 13 were on or have not refilled their medication upon intake. Out of the 30, 17 was from center, 6 females, 11 males, 13 from out of county, 9 females and 4 males. Suicide watch a year ago was 17. This past November was 11. Out of the 11, 9 were from center, 2 females, 9 males, 2 from out of county, 1 female, 1 male. Suicide detox a year ago was 5, 4 from center, 1 from out of county. This suicide detox were 2, 1 from center was male, 1 from out of county female. Detox total a year ago was 20, 13 from center, 7 from out of county. This past November was 28, 12 females, 16 males. Out of 28, 23 were from center, 7 females, 16 males, 5 from out of county, 5 female. Our substance detox by the numbers, heroin and opiates were 2 from center, fentanyl was 1 from center, benzol was 2 from center, meth is 5, 4 from center, 1 from out of county, 3 were alcohol, 2 from center, 1 from out of county. Suboxone was 4 from center, and multiple was 11. We had 2 meth Suboxone from center, 1 alcohol Suboxone from center, 1 benzo alcohol from center, 1 benzo Suboxone from center, 1 heroin benzo from out of county, 1 heroin alcohol from center, 1 heroin meth alcohol from center, and 3 fentanyl meth, 1 from center and 2 from out of county. Our MAT Vivitrol, at this point, we had 0 for first injection or second injections. Total inmate received injection prior to release is 29. Inmates received second injection prior to release is 17. And of course, the release of inmates who have returned for follow-ups is still only at 7. Crime care report, inpatient hospital is 1 for a total of 7 days for seizures. Our COVID-19 test results, returning citizens symptomatics is 281, recovered 112, asymptomatic testing was 3,492, recovered is 158. Total seen by physician or PA a year ago was 103, this past November was 110. Total medical transport to outside physicians was 13 a year ago, and this past November was 8. Mental health clinicians seen, individuals seen a year ago was 307. This past November was 264. Psychiatrists a year ago was 47. This past November 59. Mental health patients on psychotropic medication a year ago was 117, which was 56% of our population, our ADP population of 209. This past November was 92. Our ADP was 169, so it was 54.4% of our population. Our daily average patients diagnosed with mental health was a total of 118 out of 169 ADP. A year ago, we had 121 in Category C, which was 57.9% of our population. Category D was 20, 9.6% of our population. This past November, Category C is 103, 60.9% of our population. And Category D is 15, 8.9% of our population. Our mental health stability rating, the entire population snapshot of November 30th. As we look at A is our stability code A is 21, 13% of our population. Stability code B is 20, 12% of our population. Stability code C is 109, which is 66% of our population. Stability code D is 15, which is 9% of our population, and we had 1 waiting on placement, which comes out to 0.001. I think that's why it comes out to 0, because we already got to the first on that. Our mental health stability rating by county, we start off with stability code A. Blue is Center County, orange is Tennessee County. So stability code A is Center County is 18, there are males. Out of county is 3 males. Stability code B, Center County is 16, 14 males, 2 females. Out of county is 4 males. Stability code C, Center County is 72, 58 males, 14 females. Out of county is 37, 17 males, 20 females. Stability code D, Center County is 9, 8 males, 1 female. And out of county is 6, 2 males, 4 females. Inmate grievance report, total grievance is 20. 0 non-grievable, non-grievable found at 0, grievable were 3, found at 0. First and second appeal was 0. A year ago we had 19, 17 was refused. Central booking numbers, a year ago we had 212, this past November we had 181, we're down 31 bookings at that time. 11-7 process 22, 7-3 process 62, and 3-11 process 97. And that's it, sir.
At this time, is there any questions, comments from our prison board members on the monthly reports?
What are the stability codes?
Oh, just 1 second, Ken. We're just gonna, yes, we'll open it up for public comment in just a moment. Any questions or comments? Warden, if you could, before we go to the MAT, we're gonna go to MAT policy in a bit.
Yes.
Could you go back to the detox? Yeah, the detox. Yeah, slides, yeah, right there. And just go one more forward, with the graph of the different, substances that, this is, I think this is important just to take a snapshot of as we go and appreciate that policy. We may jump back to it, but this really is gonna inform a lot of what this MAT policy is and the amount of, variety, I'll say, that we're seeing. I mean, that the graph is going like this, and also that red box is going like that. So we've gotten more multiples and more. So this MAT policy is really very, very important. So appreciate you bringing that forward. I just wanted to draw attention to that before we left our monthly reports. Okay, so Ken, please, you had.
Well, I was just curious what the different stability codes were and how they would affect the ability to recreate.
I don't have it with me.
What, the
Stability
MHSRs?
codes.
Yeah, you want to do it?
Yeah, so MHSRA is you have no history lifetime. MHSRB would be you do have a history, but you're not currently under treatment of a psychiatrist. C, that's everybody that's on mental health medications while they're in here, they're currently being treated by our psychiatrist. And D is severe mental illness, so that would be our schizophrenia patients, people that are on our long-term injections, people that we just keep a closer eye.
All right, thank you for the question, Ken. Any other public comment on our monthly reports from reporting? We are hearing none. Thank you, Warden, for that. We're going to go into old business. We have 2 items, our conversation on recreation alternatives, also on COVID-19 policy. We're going to start with the Recreation Alternatives Committee. So as many of us know, at our last prison board meeting in November, our prison board had reiterated the position that we would not be identifying new construction projects at the facility as it relates to outdoor recreation. However, and I'll give credit to our district attorney, who had mentioned that there could be alternatives to recreation that we could be looking at. And as follow-up conversations have occurred, our district attorney has been willing enough, and we appreciate this, to chair a committee that would look at this. And so we wanted to, as a group, talk a little bit about a consensus behind that as a prison board to go forward with that, but also some of the parameters and goals of this committee. This, of course, would be in conjunction and close working with the warden and his team. They would be at every committee meeting. They'd be able to link up the committee with different facilities throughout the state that would provide a different viewpoint when it comes to options for recreation alternatives. So I'm certainly happy to turn it to our district attorney just to share some of his thoughts behind the willingness to look at this, but then we can talk about what are some of the goals that we'd like to achieve out of this. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, as to the objectives or goals, I think that needs to be flushed out. My comments were previously that we need a short-term, mid-term, and a long-term plan. Short-term, we have opportunities to ensure that folks that are in jail can actually be outside of jail. And the biggest place that exists is expanding and increasing work release, which had been taken down to almost non-existent prior to 5 years ago. COVID certainly put a dent in it, but there's the majority of the Center County residents in jail currently are on a sentence, which means they're eligible for work release, which gives opportunities for them inside the 4 walls all the time. So that's an easy reach, I think. I don't think it's easy. I think it's something that's very doable. I also look at some of the other, this is separate and apart, but when we look at some of the other policies that got changed in previous administration, good time got extremely limited. That's an opportunity, I think, to make the people who work inside the prison's job easier, because privileges are things that people work for, and it makes, I think, guards' lives easier. So opportunities where we increase that, it's a win-win. Those are the 2 general ideas that I have. I think the rest will really come down to what we can do within the prison setting, which is within the warden's wheelhouse, what the physical structure are. So those are some, I think, immediate things that come to my mind. But again, I don't work inside the prison, so I don't know what. As to a midterm and long-term, it is the reality that money, material, and humans to actually work in the prison are very limited. So to say we're going to do that today is not realistic. To say, can you reach it in the midterm or long-term, is a question that needs to be asked. And, you know, my answer is that midterm, long-term, depending on the cost, I think it's something we should do. It still ensures the security of the prison and ensures that the people in the prison we're doing our best by them within the parameters. So those are my general thoughts on it. Other ideas, that's why I say the objectives and goals that needs to be fleshed out.
Okay, that's helpful to start as a basis of the beginning conversation. I also want to recognize that our controller, Jason Moser, has also expressed a willingness, not only during this round of conversations, but previous conversations about being a part of that committee, and wanted to offer an opportunity for him to share some thoughts on this.
Sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. You know, I agree with District Attorney Cantorna that the mid and long-term goals of looking at additional facilities or construction, you know, that's a much longer-term goal, but just because of the constraints that the county already faces in the correctional facility, not just money and material, but staff. You know, that's just a realistic picture of that. But you know, these short-term goals, I'm pleased to hear. You know, work release, some additional granting of privileges based on good behavior, those sorts of things. So I think these are, I would agree with District Attorney Cantorna that they're achievable and reachable goals in the short term. And I look forward to the conversations and the discussions that we have with the warden and his team and the other committee members.
Thank you, Mr. Controller. One of the things that we wanted to recognize about the committee is it would be very beneficial to have individuals who are advocating for this, individuals who have been previously incarcerated or previously involved, criminally justice involved individuals with this. And so we're really going to rely on the district attorney and the controller to, I won't say accept applications, but, you know, have conversations with individuals that may be interested in joining that. And there may be some folks who may be more willing to say yes offline. And so we've had some conversations regarding that, but we really want to just, as a prison board, get consensus to allow the district attorney and the controller to go with this committee. Also, this is more ad hoc than it is. There's no real, you know, ability through the county code to say there's a committee. I think we can all generally agree if the parameters are to look at how other facilities do it, talk with the Department of Corrections statewide, even other states. There may be some programs and opportunities that we could look at. We know our staff are well versed with the Association of Wardens, the National Corrections Association. So there's a lot of good resources out there, and there's a focus that they have to run the jail and make sure it is effectively operated. But there's always that opportunity of outside perspectives from the board, from community individuals to add a little bit of perspective and to allow our corrections team to interface with other experts within the country or the Commonwealth to get some other ideas out there. So we can allow them, I think, the amount of times they meet. Again, you know, there's going to be what's going to come out of it, and maybe the January meeting might be an ability to come back after some initial discussions to, you know, provide with some more parameters. So I'll pause my comments there, but anybody else from the prison board, if there's any perspective on this, we certainly would love to hear it.
I guess I would just say, so I regretted missing the discussion last time around, but I do thank and applaud the efforts of the district attorney and Controller Moser in starting this committee. I think it's an important discussion. I agree with the comments that I've heard. You know, I think that we are constantly looking at mental health numbers, and I can't help but think there's some correlation there between, you know, ability to have at least some level of fresh air and sunshine and and mental health generally. We're talking about people who I understand are in jail, but they're human beings, and I think we owe them making sure that we're doing the best by them and their wellness while they're in the facility. And we need to understand that they are returning citizens. We use that phrase because that is a fact. I mean, they're people that are a part of our community now, and when we're going to be a part of the larger community, they're generally on shorter sentences. So again, I think that it serves our community as a whole to be looking at this project. Again, thank you to the DA and Controller Moser, and also to those of you who have really worked on making sure that this issue kind of remains on the table. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Judge.
This is Steve. I would support investigating whatever opportunities there are out there, and I would continue to support the district attorney and Controller Moser and his and their efforts to expand programming for outside recreation where it's feasible.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We very much appreciate that. That was Commissioner Steve Dershowitz, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, Commissioner Higgins.
Yeah, I was recently at a regional meeting where we had commissioners from 10 other counties in attendance, and during some of the breaks, I actually received some compliments on how well the Center County Correctional Facility is run and the amount of additional programming we have for the returning citizens. But I do agree with the DA and the Controller. We can always strive to be more flexible and to offer additional opportunities to our returning citizens. You're mentioning work release. I'm assuming that also includes perhaps additional work with Centerpiece or other nonprofits, so that the returning citizens could potentially have other options that might not directly be working for direct pay. Yeah, anything else we can do within the constraints that we operate under, I would be happy to receive some recommendations.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. And one of the things as well to mention has been, we began a reentry coalition several years ago, 2014, 2015. And as part of that charter, the mission statement, the vision statement was to encourage as much reentry programming as possible within Center County while still balancing the perspective of the victims and the individuals that have been affected with the crimes. And this committee, without a doubt, will, I think, be able to do that. Specifically want to just recognize that District Attorney Cantorna, prior to being our district attorney, was in private practice and did a lot of defense work. And I think has an excellent relationship with CenterSafe, a lot of the organizations that do advocacy for victims. And so we just wanted to recognize that that balance will continue to be struck with any recommendations or any thoughts that might come out of this group. It was important to say that just as we continue this discussion. Any other comments from the prison board before we open it to any public comment? Okay, all right, hearing none. So again, from our perspective at this point, before we go to public comment, a committee would be created. January, we would hear some of the constraints and guardrails that we want to put on this, but also some of the specific goals that we'd like to achieve. Again, short-term, long-term, medium-term as well. And so at this point, that's our perspective. We'd be happy to take any public comment at this time. We'll start with folks in the room. We will watch the clock in about 5 minutes, and we'd be happy to take any comments at this point. So, Connie, please.
I'm sure that the Prison Society would like to have a representative on your committee, so we'll be looking to contact you regarding that.
I already thought of that. I mean, the reality is I don't know the folks who are out there, and we need folks that can work together and actually be constructive in conversations. And Prison Society is certainly a group that I feel comfortable they recommend somebody that it won't take a complete 180. Maybe a left turn, but not a 180.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Connor. Yes, please.
Hey, my name is Josh Helke, and I'm here with Organic Climbing and Nittany Mountain Works and Climb Nittany. And just as a community member, I just wanted to say that I was surprised just to hear about all this stuff. I moved to the area in 2004, and I'm quite enamored with it here. My wife's at Penn State, and in terms of like outdoor recreation, that's my jam. Like, we own a sewing factory. It's actually the only solar powered sewing factory in the world, which is super cool. We're up in Phillipsburg on the Center County line, but we're on the Center County side. But so I've always been super stoked that we had this, you know, the jail, the solar panels, and all this, but it came crushing down when I read the Center Daily Times stuff, because I was like, shoot, I've been putting like all this stoke and like selling Center County to international, you know, like literally saying this is a great place, come move here. Klein Nittany came from Ohio to partner with us because of the progressiveness of our community. Once I kind of heard this stuff and talked to I actually have a couple employees that have made their way through here and are back working for me. And kind of when I heard some stuff, it started to really make me question my ability to, let's say the progressiveness of it, when all that was literally lurking in the shadows of these progressive solar panels. And I know that was on a grant and stuff, but as a local business, I just wanted to say, you know, I'm fully in support, and I'd be willing to be on a committee or something, because I was pretty shocked to, you know, be advocating all this beautiful recreation in Center County, and also making a product in the USA under the premise that it's done with ethics and stuff, and then all of a sudden to find out that there's a little gray area in terms of how much sunshine people are seeing, and while they're passing an inspection, are they? You know, it's like things, that's why I'm here, and I just wanted to say that I appreciate what you're all doing. Thank you for putting time into it. I own a business, I know money is hard, and that this all just comes down to where's the money gonna come from, where's the people gonna come from, but as a community member, I do appreciate what you guys are all doing and support the committee, so thank you.
Mr. Helke, that we appreciate your time, as we do everybody here today. But that is an extraordinary, unique perspective that I think the district attorney, we would all appreciate further conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, no, please.
Great to see you in person, Josh.
Hi, Mark.
Appreciate all the work you're doing in the Shannon Valley. Stan LaFuria speaks very highly of it.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
Thanks for all your work in there.
Thank you.
Please, any other comments? Yes, please.
Yes, my name is Carrie Wiesman. Been in the community since 1982, and I love Happy Valley. I want to just ask one question. Do you live in an urban area? I think we all know we don't live in an urban area. And that's why I'm here, right? And those who are incarcerated do not live in an urban area either. And the reason we have the facility we have is because somebody in Harrisburg said we could cut costs by being an urban prison. And that's our classification, and that's why we meet the standards. And I appreciate that there's a whole lot of stuff that I don't understand that Center County is coping with in terms of things that you are required to do for inmates. I also appreciate the fact that, in fact, there is a lot of good stuff that is happening in the prison. Okay? I really do appreciate that. I have spoken with somebody who recently came out of prison who said that he was helped by some of the programs that were offered. Nonetheless, we are not an urban prison, and we have the capacity to offer sunlight and recreation outside, gardening, etc., to our residents. Not everybody wants to play basketball inside that gym, okay? In fact, we look at a percentage of people in our society who want to play basketball. It's relatively low. That's what we offer. I know there's other opportunities, but that is not outdoor recreation. It does not meet the intent of the law, even if we're saying that we are, okay? And so I really want to make sure that people have the opportunity to grow and to heal while they're here. All of us want to go outside for a walk and take a deep breath of air. And whether that's, in the woods, which for me, it's in the woods, right? In nature. The amount of restitution I experienced just being outside is tremendous. And I believe that we could cut our recidivism dramatically. And if any of us here had a relative in our prison, we would be unhappy that they never get to go outside. That they never. And I think it would be wonderful to get everybody on work release who can go, okay? But that doesn't change the fact that while they're here, they need to be able to recreate outside, restore their souls, okay? I really do believe that we can cut recidivism in our county by that one single act.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment in the room, please?
Ken Klein Smeltzer, I live in Boalsburg since 2002. I appreciate the Attorney Ken Tornan for getting this going in the Alternative Recreation Committee. I see now why it's called Alternative Recreation Committee, because it's looking at alternatives without necessarily expanding the facility. I do want to say that it seems to me like there are possibilities for doing outdoor rec without changing the facility. And can't believe that security is that big an issue. I mean, somebody would walk away and risk adding years to their sentence.
They do.
They do.
They do.
And maybe that happens. But doesn't mean you couldn't have an escorted walk or time outside of a fence or tower. So that's one thing. The other thing is, it's really interesting. Half are not sentenced yet. Half of the Center County population, 57, 58. So they aren't available for work release. So how could they get out? So it would have to be in a company or something. So we want to keep them in mind as well as work release. Mm-hmm. The reason I was asking about the code is, somebody might be disqualified based on their mental health time. That's understandable, but on an individual basis. So I hope this committee comes up with some good alternatives that work for the prison personnel as well.
Thank you very much, Ed. Thank you. We are going to set public comment for individuals virtually. If you'd just like to unmute yourself, and we will take individuals one at a time.
Are you going to call the order? Because I don't know the order of the room.
Leslie, you're first.
Okay, good morning. Glad to be recognized. Thank you, Warden, DA, and Board of Inspectors. My name is Leslie Lang, and I am a resident of Ferguson and member of the Prison Society and employee at Penn State. And it's a pleasure. I get the pleasure and opportunity to work with formerly incarcerated students who are now seeking their degree. And it's unfortunate that we are all once again revisiting and petitioning you for an expansion of services that are under your purview and within the law granted. And I recognize the level of your fiscal responsibility and the authority to improve the environmental and operational conditions of all those in the Center County facility, and it's placed in your care, and we appreciate the work that you are doing. But we know that taking this shortcut has crippled those being under your care and impeded their release to our community in many ways. And so I want to express my gratitude for the change in heart that was expressed this morning, specifically by DA Ken Torna, to form a committee at least to move ahead and discuss short-term solutions. I heard that this morning. And I understand that you're not willing to undergo construction, although minor things might need to be put in place, because the current conditions of that garage-like window for ventilation in the indoor gym falls woefully short, as we know. when considering the law provides both access to outdoor recreational exercise. And previously we discussed, and I've heard others say about the basketball courts, and not everybody's playing basketball, although it's a nice opportunity. People have removed that option for unknown reasons in the past. We understand that in 2018, the solicitor failed to provide options, and there was a lack of accountability that kind of led to delay. And then there was COVID and everything else that happened after that. But the impending wellness for those under your supervision, both emotionally, mentally, physically, they have been expressing for a long time. And you have, in your numbers, talked about the anxiety and the dependence on sleep medications, the declined immune systems, the residual pain, the multiple things that they are presenting with, and that they've experienced these things and they're actually not being helped with their incarceration. And the lack of permitting exercise or access to sunshine, wind, and weather, we know is debilitating even to those who are well and not in facilities. We take our seniors out. We put them on a porch, on a patio. We stroll ourselves in the middle of the day. We get up and we walk and we move. And so this is why it's so important for you to be acting on this now, because this is just no longer acceptable, especially in the wake of a pandemic. It will get worse if we don't fix it now with these short-term efforts. For years, we have talked and heard about the benefits of work release for those who have firsthand accounts. We have some here today, present online and in person, and they get the opportunity to travel, even if it's only briefly outdoors. And for years, many inmates have been complaining about the indoor windows, the ventilation, and you know this. So this is not new for us. But as local advocates, we are still presenting this very issue, and it's more than 20 years. So each of you around the table, each of us online today, we are accepting part of the responsibility of aiding and abetting this system for more than decades. But we choose to make a difference today, and we want you to expand your facility options to all of the inmates. So we are glad that you're going to re-examine and how you can better use the law to provide better provisions rather than the narrow interpretation that is currently in effect. And we know that in your facilities, there is a precedent for outdoor recreation at the state facilities. So there are models that we can use. So we are asking that you get those models for consideration to give to the committee, and that you add the recreation concerns to your agenda until you have fulfilled the short-term responsibility for accountability and for transparency. We thank you in advance for doing some sort of informal feasibility of 2 or 3 options that would expand the outdoor recreation provisions. If there is grant funding that is available from our wonderful commissions that can allocate or reallocate funding, you know, we found money when we wanted to put solar panels up. We can find a little money because it's a fraction of that money, not even 5% of that money, could increase the personal outdoor space or allow for additional escorted security for those who are eligible for the space. So we ask you to revisit those options.
The 30-second timing. Just want to let you know, about 30 seconds left.
Okay, thank you. The low enrollment numbers should allow for you to provide that 2-hour authentic outdoor experience for those people who are right there that can benefit from the wellness and mental stability that outdoors provides. And so we thank you and we appreciate the Board of Inspectors convening and allocating time and attending to the concerns and recruiting the appropriate diverse group of community members to also assist your designated representatives to address this critical issue. We know that the time has come now to elevate this issue for the health and restoration mentally, emotionally, physical capacities for conditions of wellness that will improve people returning to our communities. They are still your family members, our children, and we have a responsibility. So I thank you very much. And if it's necessary, we ask that you elevate our concerns and your own advocacy, elevate them to the governor's level and ask for political support, financial support in order to make these goals attainable and to publicly address them with goals in January. Thank you.
Thank you. We have many other commenters. I appreciate your comments. Thank you. We all do. We just want to remind folks we have a 5-minute limit for public comment, as we do every meeting. Thank you, Leslie. Is there any other public comment on the virtually? And feel free to unmute yourself and you can offer your comments. Okay.
I would like to, this is Marie Hamilton.
Yes, good morning, Marie, please. The floor is yours.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
The several people referred to this. Being without sunlight throws off our circadian system. In other words, we can't sleep at night if we do not get daylight over a long period of time. I taught classes in there for years before COVID, and my classes were from 6 to 9 in the evening. At 7:30, we would take a break, and all of the residents would go to their block, and they would be given their medications. Sometimes the medication cart would come to the class and give them. And I observed that almost all of the residents took medications. And they would apologize to me constantly that they took medications to help them sleep. And they apologized because they thought they would fall asleep during my class. This was a large percentage of the residents. One of the students told me that upon release, she could not afford the prescription to help her sleep. She wasn't able to sleep for 5 days. She said she thought she was going to go crazy. The 5th day, she got a new charge and was back in jail and telling me this story. Now, there is a poster in your reception room, or there used to be, that warns about getting addicted to prescription drugs. Because we do not have outdoor recreation, we are addicting the returning citizens to prescription drugs. This is one more serious reason. There are so many people who would not be eligible for work release. And we must do better for the returning citizens, their family, and our community by permitting outdoor recreation. Let's be the humane people we profess to be. This is a moral issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marie. We appreciate your comments. Is there anybody else on our virtually who would like to offer public comment?
Yeah,
Again,
actually.
Please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jean Morrow. I live in State College. I'm a long-term resident of the area. This is my first time coming to a meeting like this and hearing about these issues. And, you know, the mother and grandmother in me is horrified at the thought that people aren't getting out and getting, you know, what we all know as a very, very necessary element in their life, which is, you know, in all our lives, we need to get outside, we need to stretch our legs. It makes a huge difference. I'm horrified to hear Marie's story of all of those prisoners who are being addicted by the system because they didn't get outside. I mean, it sort of feels like a cause and effect to me. I appreciate that it's a complex problem, and that there's a bunch of people online and in that room working on it, and you have been for a long time, and I don't pretend to understand all of the ins and outs of it. But it seems to me there's a part that's just a moral imperative. And I think the only reason I want to speak up is because I want to tell you, the people like me who are new to this as a problem, it's going to stick in our mind. We're going to be thinking about it. I think more and more people are going to be showing up and saying, wait, what? People aren't getting outside. What's going on here? And I'm very, very glad you have, you're going to be really looking into serious, to ways to do something about this. And, more and more people like me are going to want to know that this is really happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean. We appreciate your comments and welcome. You said it was your first time. We appreciate you attending. Is there anybody else virtually who would like to offer public comment? We'll ask a second time and then we'll move forward. Is there anybody else who would like to offer public comment virtually? We are seeing none. Again, a thank you to everybody who offered public comment today. Your perspectives are very valuable, unique, and this will be an ongoing conversation we have with more to report at our January meeting. And we know some interested individuals. Feel free to, we could do an email, what would be the best way to have folks get in touch with the committee?
Have an email Denise. I would say, and then she can get us the committee people together and go from there.
Okay, is that okay, Denise? And in terms of an email, what would it be?
D.A. Murphy.
D.A. Murphy, okay. D.A. Murphy, M-U-R.
Yeah, sorry, M-U-R-P-H-Y.
Right, okay. And then at centercountypa.gov. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Denise, for offering that email. And we will.
Thank you. Thanks. So nice of you to volunteer.
Yeah, it's okay.
We had a previous conversation. We were good.
No, this is a topic that constant, and so we appreciate the willingness for the community to offer comments and to work with us on this. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Any other?
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, of course. Thank you, Karen. Thank you. At this time, we are going to move forward with our COVID-19 operations report, and we'll turn it back to the board.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Our programs are all in person. However, there are some that are split in person. As you look at the bottom, Yoga Female is a split. There's a few other ones that are still going to be doing virtual, which is fine, but all of our other programs are coming inside the walls and meeting with our returning citizens. So that's the list. I'm not going to bore by reading through them, but that's all of our programs at this time that we have that's coming inside.
If we could, Warden, Ridgelines, we recently signed the contract. It may have been between this meeting and the last, or right before the November meeting. Is that up and running yet?
January. Their schedule got conflict with Muncie. So they thought they were clear, but they had to finish out with Muncie first, and then we'll start in January.
Fantastic.
Programs on phone calls, Center Safe. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask a question about the Leadership Center County program that I understand was highly successful.
Could we do that at the end?
Okay.
It's okay. Thank you. Yeah, we just have a little bit more. Thank you, Tony. We'll come back. Thanks.
Center Safe, they do a split in persons when needed, but they do everything with phone calls. If they need to come in, they will come in. Videos, access church services. And again, we're still in the process of reviewing the Wellness Recovery Action Plan, WRAP, for both returning citizens and staff. Our COVID-19 vaccine was October 10th for our 19th vaccine and booster clinic, a total of 13 vaccines. First dosage of Moderna was 2, Pfizer 2. Second dosage was Moderna 2, Pfizer 3, and a booster was Moderna 2 and Pfizer 2. The 20th vaccine was actually December 6th. We'll report in January, and all returning citizens receives $25 for their first vaccine.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, Warden. For the prison board, any comments, questions, discussion for the programming or the vaccination?
Just want to say, Chris, for those listening at home, how many opportunities for classes and enhancement would there be in Clearfield County or Huntington County or Mifflin County or Clarion County or any of the other counties anywhere in the central part of the state?
If I could put a new screen in here and make it blank. I'm just saying, I don't know, but it's not even talkable, let's put it that way. So I don't want to.
We'd like to thank all of our nonprofits, the Prison Society, the local churches, for all of their assistance in offering this type of programming that really enhances the returning citizens' time here and does help us provide one of the lowest recidivism rates in the entire state. Appreciate all your help.
Any other comments from the prison board on this? Questions?
Connie, you had about.
Yeah, we're gonna, yeah, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Please go ahead.
I understand that the Leadership Santa County program was highly successful, and I was contacted just recently about the Prison Society giving some support to that, but I haven't nailed down what they meant by that. Did the prison pay for this program, or was it provided at no cost?
Provided at no cost.
Okay.
So I don't know. So we're looking after the holidays to put together another one. So it's just the holidays. It's just they like to do it back to back for the amount of weeks. That's why we didn't continue to pick up another one, just because the holidays come.
Sure,
so
sure.
January, February, we'll be picking up another one, work with Zach and getting that together and setting up another program and going from there. So I don't know what they're I don't know. He didn't reach out to me.
I have a meeting next week with him, but I just wanted to know how it was managed first time. If it was at no cost, then that leads me to believe that somebody must have paid something for it.
Well, I know
what that was.
I know Centerpiece was involved in it and so forth, but nothing came on my plate of saying a fee. So I don't know.
Okay, well, I would like to see it continue for sure, so I'll investigate.
Yeah, you mentioned Zach. Zach Barton is the executive director.
Yeah, I've had conversations already.
Well, no, not for you, for more broadly.
Oh.
Yeah, that's okay. But executive director of Leadership Center County, their program is a 8-9 month long program, 1 day a week for intensive community research and connections. But they also feel it's their mission. I'm serving on the government committee for Leadership Center County.
Good.
Wanted to share that. Zach really felt this was his mission, and Kathy as well at Centerpiece really wanted to invest in it. Again, they're just taking time out of their main focus to work on this. They really felt it was something important. So, yeah, no cost. Yeah.
Okay.
Non-profit, right? So, okay. Any other questions or comments from the public on operations or the vaccination report? Okay. We are hearing none. We are going to head into our new business. Our first one is to just to confirm our schedule for next year, and then we have some policies as well to discuss.
Yes. 2023 Prison Board of Inspectors meeting schedule is the second Thursday of each month at 8 a.m. if the board approves that. At that point, and these are the dates: January 12th, February 9th, March 9th, April 13th, May 11th, June 8th, July 13th, August 10th, September 14th, October 12th, November 9th, and December 14th. So if the board approves, or if you want to vote, or is that good? It's up to you guys.
No, we'll do it as consensus. I think we've historically done this, and we keep it at this time, unless there's anybody who wishes to suggest a different date, but it works for many of us. So. All right, we're hearing consensus, and again, it will be in this room, and we will continue to do hybrid, but that may phase out in 2023 depending on what things look like. So, have consensus on that. Okay.
Yep.
I would assume that we can go into our policies. Again, these are public policies. We can discuss them. Chris, didn't know if we needed an executive session. We're good. Okay.
No, the use of force is actually that's public information as far as I'm concerned. It's an enhancement. We're going to start off with our medical. It used to be called the FIMAT. We talked about with Vivitrol, but we're going into Subucade as well. So we revamped. The board received a copy of a copy of the policy that's in all red. It is extensive, so I'm not going to read verbatim because we may be here till 10 o'clock or further. But the gist of it is our main goal was, instead of having Prime Care come in and we sign them a check and they take care of MAT, our whole goal was, when we developed this, and this is what took us a little longer than anticipated, but what we want to do is, when the individual comes in our correctional facility, and they are on an MAT program with usually Crossroads, it would have been Quest, but Quest is no longer, and I don't know who the new company is in Phillipsburg right now, the provider, but we're gonna work with them as well. I work with Kathy Arborgrass. So right now, I don't know who the provider is because they're still working things out there, but when they come in with the MAT program, and if they're seeing the counselor Sue in the community, they're gonna continue to see Sue in the community. I want them to be able to stay linked to the community. A lot of facilities have them when they come in, being incarcerated, that they're on the MAT program, they don't see Sue no more, they're gonna see Billy from Prime Care. And then when they get released from Billy, they go back to Sue. So my whole thing is I wanna keep their program consistent with the same counselor that they're seeing from the street into the, I don't wanna see them come back into the jail, but if they come back into the jail, they're gonna still see Sue. And then when they get released, they're still gonna see Sue. The only thing would be different is if up in Phillipsburg and Shannon Valley, if that company, we might have to change because of their living locations. That's the only thing until we get them, until they get up and running and working and so forth. That's the only thing that we would have to change from Sue because of their living, their residentials would be in Phillipsburg area, and we would transfer it for their accommodations to that new provider at that time. That's the only reason why we do it, but otherwise, that's what we're doing. The counseling, and what's good about it is Crossroads comes in now, they're going to continue to come in now. So that means we don't have to take the individual out, take them down to their office, do the counseling, escort them back. It saves on staff, saves on county funds. So they're willing to come in and see them right here in our side of our walls, which is a plus for us. Now for the medication part, yes, we will take hopefully if it's a group of people, we'll take them in the van, we'll take them down, they'll get their injection, and then we'll bring them back at that point. The process is if they come in, we're doing continuous, so we aren't doing inductions yet because we want to take one step at a time. So anybody that has a program now that they come into jail will continue on that program. We're going to reevaluate it at 3 months, and then 6 months, hopefully in between 3 and 6, we'll do inductions at that point. So when inductions happen, what happens there, Prime Care will start the initial 7-day oral medication. We will still have them linked into somebody in the community, it'd be Crossroads or the new provider in Phillipsburg area, and start their counseling there. After the 12 days, they're going to the injection and making sure that they, with Crossroads or the new provider at that point. It shows how the oral medication will be given. It gives that explanation how that's going to be, and so forth. Anything else that we can highlight that, it goes extensive.
Yeah, it's pretty extensive. We've reviewed a few counties, both in Pennsylvania and outside of Pennsylvania, that have a program running. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, we wanted to take what we wanted and pull some of their best practices into ours. It was a long process to do this.
Well, our biggest thing is we want to make sure that Crossroads was able to accommodate additional of what they've seen coming in now. So what they have already seen, drug and alcohol, I know they see in the community, but are they able to come in here and continue that and take on that workload? And even with Quest dissolving, are they able to take those individuals as well? And that meeting came about, and they were willing to take on the extra load. So that was the biggest thing, waiting to make sure that they had enough staff to be able to accommodate that, and it worked out very well. So.
Thank you for the presentation. We are going to discuss it amongst the prison board first. Any questions or comments for Kristen as policy?
Appears to be very well thought out and researched. So.
In terms of the amount of individuals that, if we would see the same numbers that we saw in November, when we turn this on, those individuals are going to be the primary focus. The folks who present with a detox scenario. In terms of the difference between when they would come in now and what they would expect when they come in, what would that look like? We know what it looks like now, they just detox. But in terms of what it would look like in the future, what are the big differences?
I don't know if our numbers will change in a sense with coming in of detoxing. We're hoping if they're on a program, hopefully they're not coming in using any other illicit drugs at that time. But if they are, they're going to go through the detox program, but also keep them on the MAT program as well. So they're going to receive their oral medication or their injection. while they're detoxing, and then continue that program throughout their incarceration until they're released. Number-wise, I don't know if that number will change in a sense. I'm hoping that more people get on the MAT program in the community that will help them assist, not recidivate and come in. But that number also is there's individuals that come in for other charges that aren't detoxing that are on MAT programs as well. So say it's reckless endangerment of others, or maybe a simple assault. Some of those are also on MAT programs. That's not illustrated on our screen at this point, but they will continue to stay on that MAT program as well. So,
Okay. Thank you, Warren.
that's it.
Okay. Hearing no other questions or comments from the prison board, we're happy to take any public comment at this time. Yeah, please. Ma'am.
Will I be able to get a copy through the right to know system of this policy?
Yeah, all policies are. I mean, there may be some redaction in it due to the safety of the institution.
Right, sure. But because our medical committee is following this item, I would like to have the copy of it, and I'll submit that.
Yeah, we always welcome right to know requests. It's difficult for us to say ahead of time yes or no, but we welcome them. Yeah, absolutely. Any other public comment on this?
Appreciate
Yeah, please.
the conversation earlier comparing the local other counties around us. I just really appreciate, just appreciate your, I don't know what I want to say, but the way you're thinking, and I applaud you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Virtually, is there any public comment for anybody attending online? Any questions, comments? Okay, we're hearing none. We will look for a motion, and this is to adopt, or is it to revise?
Revise. This is a revision because it was FIMAT, and then we figured we're going to just make it MAT so everybody understands what that is.
Thank you, Ward. We would look for a motion to revise policy 220.
Motion to revise policy 220, medical assistance treatment.
Second. It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Thank you, Warden. And then we'll go into policy 307.
307, we've added. So what is when a use of force occurs, Deputy Gordon will review it. She'll look at all the video. I'll review it, and then we sign off on it. What a big discussion in Title 37 committee we've been talking about is putting a committee together. And what that means is the committee comes into the room with all the information, and they sit as a team and review it. Not saying what we do now is bad, but when you have more people inside of a room and more people looking at it, now we have about 6 people that's on the list there, but it's called an Administrative Review and Assessment Committee, ARC. The ARC committee will be comprised of 3 or more of the following staff members: Deputy Warden of Operations, which is Melly Gordon; Deputy Warden of Administration is Glenn Irwin; Administrative Lieutenant is Michael Woods; our Central Booking Lieutenant is Shane Billett, and why I answer Central Booking, he teaches all of our use of forces. So he's our instructor for all the classes. So we wanted him in there to make sure that, are we teaching the proper way and so forth. So Director of Treatment is Jeff Height. Myself, if I'm not there, I can, in my absence, I'll designate somebody at that point. And then just like if anybody else is absent, Deputy Warden Operations or designee assigned by the warden in any absence will gather all use of force documents and make copies for the committee review. That would consist of documents, videos, body cams, helmet cams, facility cams, everything else. There will be a minimum of 3 committee members to attend, so that's the minimum that can hold the meeting. So we figured 3 is better than what we have now is 2. To attend and conduct a review and assessment of all use of force incidents. The ARC shall review all use of force documents, video recordings when applicable, and facility cameras, body cameras, and helmet cams, and any other available information. As necessary to complete the review and assessment, the ARC can conduct staff and/or inmate interviews or other inquiries. The ARC determines will was the least amount of force necessary used to gain compliance? Was excessive force used? Once compliance was obtained, did the use of force cease? Was the use of force in compliance with the CCCF policy and procedures, or any modification recommends to current CCCF's policies and procedures? Is remedial training needed for staff involved? Were appropriate equipment and restraints used? Were all required reports and forms completed? Were body worn or helmet cameras used? Were appropriate, and did medical staff assess the inmate for any injuries once included? The review will be conducted within 14 business days of the use of force or sooner, and the report will be completed at the time unless further inquiry is required at that time. So that's we're ahead of the curve. It's coming. It'll be coming out in probably 2 to 3 years. We just felt that in that discussion, we put this together. I sent it down to Tom Grishaw, the inspections director, and whatever other his title is he has. And he was shocked that we took the leap forward before anybody else took that leap. But I just think it's better to have that committee together, and there's are people involved in that's experts at it, and that we can review it and take a good biased look at it and go from there, unbiased look at that and go from there.
Thank you, Warden. And just to put context on this, is there potential legislation that has been suggested that may mandate this or strongly encourage
Title 37.
Yeah. So has that legislation has Title 37 been amended yet, or is
Not
it?
yet. We're still in the process. It's a long process.
But it potentially could be.
Well, that's what's in now.
It's
It's written in there now
Okay.
to be submitted to the state.
Okay.
And that won't happen. We're still in the middle of we're probably 3/4 way through the Title 37 statute.
Maybe to clarify, there's a committee that's been formed, as was happened, not as successfully previously, that the Department of Corrections and their various staff have already looked at what is in the current law and made some recommendations, and then asked that the various counties, through our wardens associations, come together with small, medium, and large facilities and give recommendations and input, and then the Department of Corrections will formally submit that to the Judiciary Committee, who will then begin the process of hopefully formalizing those recommendations into law. So that's where it is in the process. It is not yet a draft bill, but that's the intention, is that this committee is making recommendations which will update the existing Title 37 into its newest format. So Chris sits on that committee, so luckily we've kind of got a hand in and also a preview of what that will look like.
Yeah, so there's 6 wardens, as Melanie said. There's 6 wardens from PPWA and PCCA. PPWA is Pennsylvania Prison Warden Association, with Mel and I sit on the exec board of that. And then there's Pennsylvania County Corrections Association. There's 3 wardens from there, and we sit and we go through each statute in Title 37 and revise it. And actually, I think we're actually making it harder to pass the inspection than actually easier. And our goal is not to make it easier. Our goal is to make Pennsylvania the forefront of corrections in the United States. And just listen to some people that's doing consulting work, and Pennsylvania is several steps above a lot of states that are even linked to us locally. And so for us to take this next step and allow the county wardens to be in this conversation is a plus. So that's why this was discussed the 2 meetings ago. That's why I brought it back, and I said, well, you know what, I like it now. Let's just do it and be done with it. So a lot of our policies, I have notes already. We'll probably be revamping once Attorney McMain gets back with us with a formal attorney-client privilege of our policies. And then we'll do all the revamps. So everything we're looking to revamp, we're probably going to be doing that in January. What changes are, so.
The context is certainly important because, the session for the General Assembly is done for this year, but heading into next year with the new administration, new House, some new Senate members, it'll be important to know, okay, if this is going to pass, when is it going to affect us? How's it going to affect us? So the fact that we've got a front row seat and potentially being able to put this out before anybody else is really important. So I appreciate your service on that, all the work that's been done through all the associations that Melanie, Chris, and Glenn are a part of. So that's great. So Any questions from our prison board on our use of force policy before we look for any other comments? So, yeah. All right. Virtually, do we have any from our sheriff, or I don't know if our sheriff's with us still. I know he might have had a stop at 9 o'clock, but Commissioner Dershowitz, anything to offer?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. We'll offer the opportunity for public comment, please.
Yeah, Ken Smelser. I love your questions, and my only question is, sounds like all the members of the review committee are staff people from the prison. I just wondered if independent, something, one would have to be knowledgeable of the area in order to do it.
Tell you authorities that I'm not requiring anybody in the community, and it would affect our safety and security of the institution watching our videos and camera and body cameras and everything else in our policy, so that would affect the safety and security of the institution.
And I thought about a defense attorney, just someone that, isn't a staff member, wouldn't be under pressure to.
And just to be clear, the Title 37, I might have said 35 earlier, 37. 37 is a state law, codified in state law. Any changes to that would need to be made by the General Assembly, signed by the governor. So if there were suggestions about making amendments to that, please contact your local legislator and governor in all seriousness, because we don't have anything to change it.
You see what I'm getting at? I mean, it's to protect you guys as well. You don't want to be accused of whitewashing.
No, go ahead.
And if you don't mind me adding, the folks that are listed in the policy to review, yes, they are internal, can't deny that. We are all above or beside the level of who would be doing this in a usual basis. So the 2 lieutenants that are on there are not shift commanders. They don't run the day-to-day operation that way. So when we're talking about doing this, we're talking about everybody on this committee is a trainer in various areas. Everybody is administrative in their duties and management. And so we do still have the fact that we're internal, but it is part of our job to guide all of those things on a daily basis. So nobody that's doing the review is a part of the action itself. We're all the people who are supposed to set the policy, make sure it's enforced, make sure that legally we're not in a position of liability, that people are being treated well. So we are making sure it's at that level where it's really the top administrative and management folks versus the folks who are hands-on, literally, in these scenarios, don't have a part. So as far as we can be internal, we are the most unbiased internal sources at the least to be able to do that with our background and knowledge and the responsibility that go well. It's always on us that we make that go well.
How many reviews do you have each month?
Oh, it really fluctuates. Yeah, we've had years recently where we're almost 1 a week. But those could be, keep in mind that we're talking about even a show of force. If I get 3 big guys to stand outside your cell, that's a use of force.
Right. If a police officer handcuffs somebody, that's use of force.
Right, so we're talking, some years we're talking 50 to 60, and I've had years where we've had under 20. So it really depends on kind of what's happening and how many we even just have to sort of loom versus how many times we go hand on. So it really can fluctuate from year to year in the facility.
So I'm glad you're taking the lead and getting out in front of this and doing it.
I mean, and obviously that would be like somebody, an independent law enforcement agency. That's also a big ask to say, hey, you have 61 hour meetings that you can go to, or 31 hour meetings. I'm not volunteering myself. You guys can let me know if
I do want to recognize that I wasn't answering your question, and I apologize. I was answering a different question. I appreciate Melanie catching that and saving me there. So, you were making a point about our local review committee, the policy.
Yeah.
Policy. Yep. I apologize. I was talking about. I heard it as Title 37, so that's why we have our grade staff.
It's a good question.
It is.
It's just who's the person that isn't associated with the prison that is the.
It would definitely be icing on the cake. It would definitely be. I'm sure the use of force would be justified. I have no doubt of that. But if anybody questioned it, you could say.
And it still would have, it still has to be somebody that is out. Can't be just somebody from the public, because that doesn't work.
And all the video is downloaded and stored. It's not like the video is being terminated or deleted or nothing like that. That's all being downloaded, which is states in the policy that all videos be downloaded and stored. So
I appreciate the effort again of you expanding the participants in the committee. That can only be a good thing. Add more weight to your decision at the end. Thank you.
Any other public comment on the use of force revision? We appreciate all the comments. We will look for a motion to revise 307.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion is carried. We're gonna.
I know, I figured it's all in the I skipped ahead.
Chair's discretion, we're going to go out of order. Please, Warden, if you wouldn't mind. We want to thank Judge Catherine V. Oliver, Katie Oliver, for her 5 years of service on the prison board. We understand that she'll be coming to a conclusion with this meeting, and we'll have a new judge.
Judge Graham.
I was going to say, incoming President Judge Graham will be joining us. So we appreciate to Judge Katie, thank you so much for your service, your perspective. It's so important to have a good dialogue with the judges. We know that the warden is judge. We appreciate your service.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this it has been really a pleasure to be part of. Yes, absolutely.
I know how he.
Pleasure to be part of this. Very well. Y'all do a lot of great work. I'm sure you'll continue to do that, and I'll continue to be listening and watching what happens.
And we also want to recognize that Judge Oliver is going to be leading the mental health, behavioral health court, and so it's a huge task, and so we appreciate her so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you juggling this meeting with the court as well. So,
I'm sorry to be thinking.
not a word, not a word. Thank you. Okay, so one of our last items of new business is a quick conversation with our prison board on Tennant County contracts. Just as a quick insight, we've been at 65 for quite some time. We're looking to move to 75. I don't know if John or the warden have any additional things that they'd like to add to this, but it's been quite some time since we've increased it, and we strongly want to look at this. So we just wanted to check in with the prison board of inspectors prior to us as commissioners officiating that with our partner counties.
So just to bring some history here, we've been at 65 for a long time. I think right around COVID, we talked about raising it 19 into 20. However, when COVID hit, we kind of just subsided because there's a mass exit. We were trying to get people out of incarceration and so forth. As we get to the new norm, I guess you want to call it, we're looking at cost, and we're looking at what it costs with our wages increase, with food increase and everything else. And Tennant County inmates helps offset the budget. We're not here to make profit. So a lot of people think we're making profit because it costs a lot more than $65 or $75 to house an incarcerated individual here. So to just make means, we're looking to boost it. I've talked to the other Tennant County wardens and so forth. They didn't have much of an issue with it because they know that other places have increased and they're aware of that. So we've talked about it in budget meeting. We talked about it with the commissioners. So now we're just bringing it to the board if they have any questions or any other concerns, raising it to 75 to help offset the budget.
Thank you, Warden. Be happy to have anything else, John, to add with that.
Even with the increase of the discussions that the warden has had with other counties, is even if we are matching other county costs for Tennant County inmates or even slightly above, there is a preference around the state to utilize the services that Tennant County has. So we truly are a model, and it's recognized by the other counties. Thank you.
And from prison board,
To provide some context for most, especially maybe those watching on video, Center County is very much out of the ordinary. We have a facility here that could theoretically hold close to 400 individuals. I know shortly after Commissioner Pike took office, back about 2012-ish, we had 250 to 260 Center County inmates in this facility every day of the month. And now we're fluctuating for the last year between about 100 and 135. So we've almost actually pretty much cut that number in half.
I don't like to advertise that.
Well, I think it's a huge accomplishment, District Attorney Cantorna. And, that's partially work you've done, but the judges, the correctional facility staff, all the volunteers, probation department, prison society, the local community, it's been everybody working together. And now this allows us the ability to potentially house inmates from other counties where things are exactly the opposite, and there are more county inmates in their facilities since 2012, even perhaps while the population of their county has been dropping. It takes a tremendous amount of effort to make this happen. I just want to congratulate everyone for that, and have especially the folks at home who might not have attended every other prison board meeting for the last 5 or 6 years. This is a huge accomplishment here in Sutter County, and we hope that other counties would follow our lead in this area.
Appreciate that, Commissioner. Any other comments? So
No, just so everybody knows, I'm standing because I can't see.
No, sure.
Not trying to.
No, you're good.
No. I'm not stalking you.
No. Yes, I am. First. Again, if we have any, Commissioner Dershowitz, Sheriff Samsel, anything else you'd like to offer on this? I know we as commissioners have had conversations, but anything to offer, Sheriff? And I apologize, I can't see the list of attendees, and again, he may have needed to jump off at 9. Not a worry. We can.
Michael, this is Steve. I just want to say that I believe $75 is literally the bare minimum of what we can accept tenant inmates for. The cost of operation of the facility just indicates that we need to expand every opportunity for revenue. One of the concerns that I think everybody has heard from me before is the fact that the actual operational cost of the correctional facility is incredible, and to mitigate some of that expense is important, and being smart about it at the same time, making sure that we're using the cost average, if you will, and making the opportunity for the pods to be full, because the supervisory expenses are the same whether you have one person in there or 50. So it's important for us to understand that the opportunity for making sure that we do have that cost advantage of having the extra inmates. Plus, I do believe that it provides a lot of goodwill, if you will, for our neighboring counties that maybe are in a compromised situation with their inmate population. So it's our opportunity to be nice to them, if you will, and provide them with a service. But we need to be cognizant moving forward of what our true expenses are, and the opportunity to make sure that the facility is being utilized from a financial standpoint, in good stead, because it's not cheap to run a correctional facility, and it's nice to at least make sure that we keep all the ducks in a row as far as the financials as we move forward. But 75 is the bare minimum of what we can afford to house out of county inmates, and I would applaud the effort to raise that from 65.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we agree wholeheartedly with your perspective on this. Thank you. So again, we just wanted to check in with the other prison board members and appreciate this. In case your counterparts in these other counties would mention anything, we wanted to allow you to have a heads up. And we will be then at future Board of Commissioners meetings signing those contracts and going from there. So as we go into our new year. Okay. Thank you, Warden, for that information. We do have our monthly reports that we do want to get to. Carrie, we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Just an update on drug overdose deaths. As of today, we are standing at 11 confirmed drug overdose deaths and 1 pending toxicology results. This is just slightly lower than we were last year. So we'll see how the rest of December holds out. I had an opportunity to help a student from Penn State on a project for a journalism class, and she had asked me last night, what are the total number of deaths in Center County, including, natural causes and motor vehicle accidents, all those things. And I really had no clue, and I don't know if anyone else did, but I reached out to our coroner's office, and to date, we have 807 people that have died in the county as a result of any issue. Yeah, which I thought was just interesting. So 11 and possibly 12 of those would be from a drug overdose death. I thought that put it in kind of a fuller picture when you look at it that way. So, and that does include suicides. I don't have the actual number of suicides, but I know our coroner's office is always telling us that those are on the increase as well.
So that's good context.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah, even when we were at our highest numbers, our per capita overdose death was at the lowest rate. The top, we were looking in the lowest 5, 10 counties in Pennsylvania. That's consistent.
Okay, thank you very much, Karen. For our prison society, we'll turn to Connie.
Yes, Janet isn't here today. She was going to try to be on the phone, but I just wanted to say along the lines of the Tennant County cost, I brought that up a while ago about how much does it actually cost per inmate to, and then we had the whole COVID thing. So I'm happy to see that you're increasing, and I'm assuming that that doesn't completely cover the cost of an inmate. And so as a taxpayer, A, I'm happy you're not raising our taxes this year, but 2, I don't feel like I want to support out-of-county inmates with my tax dollars. So please pay attention to that. Then the other thing I wanted to say is that I mentioned last month about my concern with the mental health issue, housing mental health inmates here, and I have made a contact at the hospital about what's going to be happening with the new tower, and I'll keep you posted on what I find out from that. But I expressed my concern that we are housing severely mentally ill people here when they should be in some other facility, and we're going to pursue that conversation.
We appreciate that follow-up with the Mount Indy. Thank you.
We do, yes, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Connie. Thank you.
I don't know where to go, but we're going to talk about it.
And again, I don't believe anybody from Centerpiece was.
I did not see anybody from Centerpiece. I know she, Kathy has her medical issues, so I'm not sure if they even, I know they're looking to fill her position, so I'm not sure where they're at that point.
Can I ask a question?
Specifically on Centerpiece or just generally?
Just relating to Centerpiece.
Okay. We'll allow it, Mark.
Thank you. Sure. Is there an opportunity for this organization to recognize her for her?
Oh, of course.
Like, can we do something special?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just suggesting, but I think we should do something because she's had an impact on.
Yes. Kathy was here at the last meeting and it updated us on where she was at health-wise, and I don't know. I think they're in motion to recognize her, giving her the space that she needs right now and has asked for. But anything that we can do to assist, we've been there. We will be there for her. But yes, I think there are some things that we're planning on. So
okay, thank you.
No, thank you for recognizing her. Again, prayers, thoughts, just good feelings towards Kathy at this time. So announcements, I don't think we have any. Just happy holidays. We just before we adjourn, I just want to make a comment that as we enter into the holidays and the Christmas season, it is of course a season we love and appreciate, but for the staff who work 24/7 during that day, and also for the individuals that are incarcerated, it can be a challenging time. And our facility has done remarkable to thank our staff and also to allow the incarcerated individuals, connections and feeling that holiday spirit that is so important. So just want to say again, kudos to our facility for supporting our staff and incarcerated folks during that time. So, all right, we have our next meeting is going to be Thursday, January 13th in 2023. We hope everybody has a happy New Year, and we'll look for a motion to adjourn at this time.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, Brian.
Monday night,